In graph 4.2, we showed how our 5 assumptions about tastes lead to indifference curves that bend towards the origin. We'll now investigate what this implies for what we'll call the marginal rate of substitution. By marginal rate of substitution for a given bundle, we mean the rate at which an individual is willing to trade the good on the vertical axis for the good on the horizontal axis. We'll begin where we left off in graph 4.2. We have 2 bundles, A and B, that we're indifferent between, and that therefore lie on the same indifference curve. The indifference curve, furthermore, bends towards the origin, as implied by the 5 assumptions we've made about tastes. Now notice what this inward bending shape of the indifference curve implies for the slope of the indifference curve. It begins steep and becomes shallower and shallower as we proceed down along the indifference curve. At bundle A, for instance, the slope might be -3, which implies we can go down by 3 and over by 1 and end up roughly on the same indifference curve. Put differently, this consumer is willing to give up 3 shirts to get 1 more pair of pants when he's consuming at bundle A. Put differently, this consumer's marginal rate of substitution at bundle A is equal to 3, the absolute value of the slope. Again, this simply means that she's willing to trade 3 shirts for 1 pair of pants when she's consuming at bundle A. At bundle B, on the other hand, the slope is shallower. It might, for instance, take on the value of -1/2, implying that we can go down 1/2 and over by 1 and end up roughly on the same indifference curve. Put differently, if the consumer is consuming at bundle B, her marginal rate of substitution is equal to 1/2, the absolute value of the slope. This implies she's willing to give up half a shirt to get 1 more pair of pants, or, if you take 1 shirt from her, she'd have to get 2 pair of pants. When we use the term marginal rate of substitution for a graph like this, we usually mean the marginal rate of substitution of the good on the vertical axis for the good on the horizontal axis, in this case the marginal rate of substitution of shirts for pants. In other words, the value that the marginal rate of substitution takes at a given bundle is how many shirts one is willing to give up to get 1 more pair of pants. If one wanted to talk about the marginal rate of substitution of pants for shirts, you would take the inverse of the slope. So, at bundle A, for instance, the consumer is willing to give up 1/3 pair of pants to get 1 more shirt, and at bundle B, she's willing to give up 2 pair of pants to get 1 more shirt. Finally, note that the shape of the indifference curve, which is implied by our 5 basic assumptions about tastes, also implies that the consumer has diminishing marginal rates of substitution. That is to say, if the consumer starts with relatively few pants and a lot of shirts, she's quite willing to exchange shirts for pants. As she gets more pants and fewer shirts, however, she's less willing to trade shirts for pants. Her marginal rate of substitution of shirts for pants therefore starts high and becomes lower as we move along the indifference curve, just as the slope starts steep and becomes shallower as we move along the indifference curve. This is a direct consequence of assuming that the consumer's tastes are both monotonic and convex.